watched the video.
Oh, that'd be good. If we saw Is it going now? It should be. Oh,
Okay, we're live.
You have to hit that.
Go ahead.
hold on. No. 1 second.
Yeah, now it's going.
Yeah, but it's looking at me. I don't want to.
Well, then you
There we go. Are we? Yes.
I'm ready.
All right. Hey, everybody. So we're back in court today. We started out the court before the jury has come in. Leventhal argues that Dan Love's material should have been provided to the defense ahead of time, and that there's now a congressional inquiry into it. There's been scrubbing of emails and shredding of documents. And now the prosecution has a limited defense to merely visiting the U.S. Attorney's Office to see this information. They're not given hard copies of it and to have it readily available for cross-examination. They also argued that they didn't have it when they were cross-examining the first couple witnesses, and that they should all be able to be brought back in. And they are limited to merely visiting the U.S. Attorney's Office to view it. It's a Brady violation. Immediately the judge says that the information was given to her in a timely manner, and that she reviewed it and ruled that it doesn't really have any weight on the case, any relevance to the case, and she didn't see any issues. But they had, in good faith, given the defense the ability to view it. She did this without asking the defense, and it was pretty much ruled and set away. Okay, then we go right back into the cross-examination of who do we have? Briscoe. And the cross-examination went for a while. This is the first time that I've seen there's been double cross-examination. So the defense went, the government went again, the defense went again. They were talking about, I know he was asked multiple times if he actually saw weapons pointed at him, which the answer was no, or if he actually saw weapons from his viewpoint pointed at any of his fellow officers, and it was no. There was some mention brought up of, because he was the security officer for the cattle area in the ICP, there was information brought up. I'm sorry, don't have my notes well today. Let's see. There was lots of objections to Todd's cross-examination. They were really picking on him today when he was cross-examining. And the judge did get irritated at one point. At one point he asked if 2 bulls were shot, and it was objected to and sustained. And so he turned to the judge and he said, "So we may not ask about the cows?" And the judge said, "You can ask about the cattle who were impounded as long as it is relevant to the armed assault and the extortion of the cattle." So basically they don't want to bring up any of the mistreatment of the cattle, any of the operations prior to the assault, armed assault and extortion of the cattle. Then he was asked, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say the level of violence at that time, the 12th in the wash, was? And he said an 8. And then Todd said, so a protest with no violence, no one hurt, no businesses damaged, no shots fired, that would be a level 8. And I think that was objected to. We moved on. He was asked if he shredded any documents. The answer was no. He was asked if we did it on the evening of the 11th or the morning of the 12th, and he doesn't know if anyone did. So then we go in, and there was some talk of a person, Robin Kirkham, that did not work with this person, or he said he didn't work with him in the beginning, but then he did say that information that she got was given to him, and it seemed like, and they were kind of putting around this, there's objections all the way through this, but it seemed like she was giving him intel that would be used for his threat level assessment. And at this point, we took a break because Leventhal really wanted to get into who this Robin Kirkham was, and so they let the jury out, and we discussed for another 10 minutes about if Robin Kirkham, who she in January made an alias on Facebook and pretended to be a Bundy supporter. And the thing that, the judge was bringing up is that she can see relevance if this person creates an alias on Facebook and then is promoting or increasing the threat level and giving him information to that. We discussed it for 10 minutes, and it sounded like, he was allowed to ask simple questions, and if the answer was yes, he could go more into it, and if the answer was no, he could not go more into it. What we're seeing today is a lot of I do not recall. They get up, they make this statement for the government, and then any questions we ask, they don't recall. A lot of this is exactly what the Dan Love congressional investigation goes into, is him telling people that I do not recall is a great answer when you're being asked questions in trial and in an investigation. And that's how to get around things. So if you're going to say something that's incriminating or something you don't like, you say, I don't recall. And sure enough, it's working inside because we can't get our points across because nobody recalls anything other than the government's statement. So we went with him for a very long time. Then we finally, after the multiple cross-examinations, they brought up Special Agent BLM Mark Allen Brunk. He was originally an Oklahoma County deputy. He was in the military before that. Then he was a BLM Ranger until 2008, and from 2008 to 2011, he was a Special Agent BLM. And, there was things brought up. He's testifying. He was the gentleman that was on the radio that was counting the gunmen. He was identifying and counting the gunmen. So pretty much we're going through, a truck cam, and you can hear the radio and you can hear them announcing on the loudspeaker. You can hear people screaming from the southbound bridge. You can hear a lot of this going on. You can't really, even to the point where at the video, you can barely see the protesters who've actually lined up halfway. He identifies Eric as what he's wearing. He hasn't identified him in the courtroom, but he does mark out plaid shirt, vest, hat, black hat. He identifies a person in military outfit that's up on top of the wall of the northbound bridge. Someone in a white t-shirt. From the pictures, we can't see any of this. He has binoculars. He's counting this. He's going into the fact that they had 4 long guns on the bridge, and they don't know. At one point, they couldn't tell where they were because they were getting down and coming back up, and getting down and coming back up. And so that's where he's claiming his threat level is at. He was also claiming that the horses arriving was increasing the threat because it's harder to stop the horses. He's claiming that dogs with the protesters are part of a threat because, for instance, the German Shepherd, he mentions that the police use German Shepherds as weapons, and so could other people. So we're in the middle of his initial testimony, and broke for lunch. We still haven't seen all of the video from the truck video. If I can go back, I forgot one thing with Briscoe. We played a video of, or they played a video of his body cam, or another agent's body cam. And in cross-examination, somebody brought up, well, did you have a body cam on you? And he's like, well, yeah. And his answers get crazy because, they object to it, and you're only getting half an answer and then a different question. So it's like, yes, he had it on him, but possibly not the whole time, but pretty much the whole time. And that it wasn't on the whole time because he didn't feel it necessary. And they said, well, here you're saying that it's a threat level 8, but yet it's not necessary for you to have your body cam on the whole time. They brought up the comment of, here comes Metro, they're going to get their feet dirt, they're going to get their shoes dirty. So they brought that up, he's laughing and joking, but yet we're at a threat level of 8 here. So a lot of contradicting points of view inside. Lots of objections, like, first cross-examination, we could hardly get a question out without objection. And the judge is going along with most of it. And then when we object to the government, it's overruled without, who was it? Jackson. Jackson actually objected and asked to approach the bench, I want to say 2 to 3 times, and was denied each time. She said, I've ruled, no need, continue on. So, what we're seeing inside, it's definitely not fair and unbiased, that's for sure.
The thing about the German Shepherds, those were Australian Shepherds, and they were cattle dogs, by the way.
Well, they mentioned cattle dogs, but, on the radio, they said, there's a German Shepherd, and then he brought that all into, like, oh, well, we use German Shepherds as weapons, so they can too.
They just were there to herd them up.
They also at the end of this new special agent's testimony, at one point he says now they have more weapons than we do, and this is the part where he's getting concerned because they now have more long guns and weapons than they do. But the way I'm hearing it, still with how many people are there, and then how many people are on the BLM side, the BLM did have more weapons. So I don't see how that's going in, but I'm sure it'll come up in cross-examination. It kind of just went over in the courtroom.
Have they yet mentioned how many BLM agents they had on that one side of the field?
They said over 30, I believe, around 30, and it was a guesstimate.
Was that just BLM, or did that include Fish and Wildlife?
They didn't elaborate to that, so I'm not sure, because I remember at one point they said they had 50 cars, and this was days ago. But now there's only 30 agents, but I know that there's more agents per cars. So, but still, they did say that every agent would have been armed, whether it be with their ARs or with their handguns. And he didn't really want to answer the AR question, did all those BLM agents have ARs? And he kind of skirted around, well, I don't recall, I couldn't really attest to that.
Brianna says that the Australian Shepherds were following hard at everyone. He went, and apparently tail wags are threatening.
Yes. As well as people who have a handgun on their side. That's a threat too.
I think what he was saying was, from his vantage point, there was maybe 30 agents. Just his vantage point.
Did they play a video where an officer was using foul language describing people coming?
Yes. What was the comment? Are these people fucking stupid?
Yeah.
And they said, well, why did you do that? And it was because it was a stressful situation and it was a way to alleviate the stress. Obviously, if they're out there going, are these people fucking stupid? They feel that they have a tactical advantage, which in all actuality, the wash is a point where they're all coming down into a kill zone. So I don't see how it's not a tactical situation for them and not the protesters.
Todd Engel also got him to admit, finally, that when Todd Engel asked him, does the sheriff have more authority than the BLM? And the BLM guy...
He did not say yes, though. He said, no, I do not believe so. And then they brought Pete's video back up where they were talking about the Second Amendment and the sheriff. And Dan Love was shaking his head yes to the video, but they wouldn't answer the question, and then he's like, fine, just play the video again. So he asked the question, they objected to it, they wouldn't let the officer answer it, but the jury heard it, and then they just played the video again so the jury could watch Dan Love be like, yeah, I don't have a problem with the Second Amendment. Yeah, if the sheriff came down, he would have more authority to me, but it wasn't like an actual answer to a question inside the courtroom.
I'm pretty sure he said no. He said that the sheriff does not have. He said the BLM had more authority, is what he said.
Are they playing Dennis Michael Lynch's video today?
I don't know. Probably not. With the way this is going, there's no way that we're going to get through this person and through the cross-examination and to another person today. I mean, he just barely got on the stand. The cross-examination of the last guy took a long time.
They're describing him coming forward, the guy in the blue shirt.
That would be
Dennis Michael Lynch, yeah.
But you can't see anything from the video that they're showing. You know, at this point right now, the horses have come and lined up in the wash, and you could barely see them on the video now.
Yeah.
So they're, describing events using a video where you can't see anything, and they're describing it to the jury from this one guy who had binoculars and was counting guns.
So is this the one prosecutor, the head guy that's doing all this?
No, I want to say it's Nadia, is that right? It's the newer lady, Nadia.
So is he speaking much at all?
No. She is doing all of the objections. She's objecting. And then when our side objects, she says, you can't interrupt the witness. And they're like, well, you've interrupted every time we've asked questions.
Every time.
And the judge is all on their side, you know, every single time.
So that's probably in their favor to go with her instead of the other guy, because the other guy, from what I've seen, is very antagonistic.
Myri?
Yeah.
Well, I think that they're also setting it up like she's the new one. Let her make all the mistakes because she doesn't know what she's doing. You know? And then she can get away with more stuff like that.
Okay. Thank you, Andrea.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
Thank all of you guys for coming and staying down here. That's
we'll be
really
back
amazing.
with you later this afternoon for an evening update. Thanks for watching.